So like I had I guess I had COVID, but like this newer version, so it's not. But like I had Corona in 2022, and there it was way worse. But
Mhm.
yeah, but like I was vaccinated, and but still it was and there, yeah, but so I had again kind of fever dreams without fever. And so there is one note I took, like I did in like psychosis. And so, well, one was that I downloaded an audiobook which I didn't listen to because it had the size 777.7 megabyte. A B dungeon lit RPG, but like I couldn't listen to this, but I downloaded it because of the size. And the other thing was that I kind of had this dream again, but like it's more like I wasn't properly sleeping, so kind of, yeah, so those strange thoughts that don't make sense. Mostly it's that you kind of think you are on the toilet, but you are not on the toilet when you are like with fever. But it was this, like, the word was halal it, and it's because like it was connected to, so I find it kind of strange that the Jews, they don't, like, um often don't even, so the word for God, so that they when they talk about it, they don't use, so kind of like in Harry Potter, they don't mention the Lord Voldemort, right? So they use different names for God. Then yeah, but this is, I don't know. It just I don't get why. So if I would come up in our script, Allah is nothing like symmetrical. And at least with the Jewish script, I see why this kind of sign or script is kind of looks holy, right? So when I look at Allah in Arabic, I don't see why it's this godly. I don't get this. But yeah, so I would probably write Allah, that it is symmetrical, right? And then if you have halal and add this, like, I labeled the L because it's not distinguishable. So if you have halal IT and you write the capital IT, then it looks exactly like the L, right? And so
Mhm.
the that was part of my, like, well, discoveries. Well, when I attempted this full, so like the the way I remember this, so that it even worked in this fever dream, is that I just know the word value of L is more than I, and this is why in most scripts L is bigger than capital I. And well, it's as well an issue in Go, so they omit, so they jump to J because it looks dissimilar to the one as well, and it would often, like, get tricky. So they just have an L, but probably just a capital L. I don't know, for like numbering, labeling the board. And in chess, you don't get that far, so that's not an issue. But like there was another thing I looked into was so when I on the former Samsung Galaxy uploaded and took screenshots of so infinite screenshots and like uploaded them. That ended up roughly in that range as well. So instead of hertz with the wolf on the cello, it was between 337 and 341 kilobyte. This kind of screenshot. I played that game that I tried to predict kind of what is on a screenshot based on the size, right? It's a similar thing I mentioned that a voice message has a size and a length. And then another thing is if you just, whatever I kind of, I was coming from that like an instrument. I have to learn to use the Samsung Galaxy so with the purpose, because otherwise you have this issue that you like kind of just autopilot. So this is part of the danger of like this kind of addiction, right? So if you use it like a cello, so like I never have the issue that I'm always like addicted to like that I cannot put away the cello. It's more the opposite, that it would better you would like practice longer for the most part. Or more often instead of so like I try to look it as a more like a weapon or like an instrument, right? And so the other issue is that such a device is just limited, so that's not the same on the cello. You kind of never you are never finished exploring, but like if you treat it as even as a pocket Galaxy, the Samsung Galaxy, so the former one had just 16 gigabyte, but like yeah, so there is just one like I really explored everything, but this is not enough to even endure a full like mental hospital visit. But what else can you do, right? So that you are quicker, that you can kind of do the screenshots blindly and stuff like that, right? Or better timed. So when you zoom in on like any color and white, you get so roughly for a screenshot, it's just 5.8 kilobyte. So otherwise, like a normal screenshot is around 300 kilobyte. And if you zoom in on black, it's even slightly less. And it's like 5.8, or it was on the former Galaxy, like 5.8 886 versus 5.83 kilobyte, right? But this is all like I like even that's all I know this is not much, but like that's all you need if you just wanna like if you need to predict, you can already sort it by size. So if it's 5.8 6, you know it has to be a color. If it's 5.83, you know it has to be an empty black screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to go from like the most extreme to like the details information, this is what you need on like one end, right? But I kind of so that's that's for the most part what I did, and I kind of stored this process as well, and that's roughly well, those kind of ideas, like this data tree is like full of such like I don't think that will ever be relevant, but before someone else is this like devastated and like maybe look at this and don't do it again. So that's the hope, right?
Mhm.
And then like then I want so I did kind of a summary again or an attempt at it. So like again, so kind of to beat this game, it is about getting a soul stone. But I think so and there's kind of different ways. So one the kind of like for most probably the only one is kind of to turn this also basically the gold I collected in this dungeon crawler into like purposeful donation money. So that's roughly 20 million. I don't think that the game will end by this at the moment, but so that's one way, right? Um, and then there's the one with basically the cellos. So there I made some progress. I discussed that, but it's not like it's absolutely not solvable in the month I will be in Einsiedeln, and you would need to be able to plan for at least a decade, and but at least for the cello that is not in use, like there I kind of have a solution now. And but the problem is that like it's too late if you start at a gymnasium for it's for the most part too late. So you definitely need to start with another instrument, and there is actually not really a reason why you shouldn't start with the violin or the cello nowadays. So like you basically need to start with like 4 or 5 years, otherwise you have a very hard time to properly learn other languages as well, right? that matter. Um, but it's not about that you need to like half an hour on average until you're 10 years old is enough. It's like with another language, like you will be able to fluently like read you or like the languages you grow up you normally pick up quite quickly, right? And so then the problem is when it becomes this competition, who plays the Haydn C-Dur cello concert like the quickest at an age below 13 or something. That that often leads not to like a long lasting career. They burn out, and this is more like in ice skating or this kind of competition. So it's that's often not the right way either, and that's why I think music could be better than sports even in this regard, but often it's the same. So that's real bad, right? But then it is another step to find kind of a lasting purpose. So for many, it's just that it's graded and part of the kind of curriculum at the gymnasium, and so often they quit. Uh, yeah, with 20, right? And yeah, but like there is this soul stone reward. You could kind of conquer the bow. So I don't know if I properly mentioned this, but like this is basically the story I have when it comes to kind of like so that was a good investment. So my father took cello lessons because there was no cello teacher. I started to play cello because my father founded this youth orchestra that still exists, but back then he kind of founded it for, well, my cousin was part of it as well initially. So for us, or like, yeah, and everyone started with the violin. So you needed a cello, right? You need to continue. So that's kind of random. So I switched to cello with like, well, roughly 7 years from the violin. So yeah.
How many instruments you can play?
I can no longer play the violin. But later I picked up the trombone to be able to go to like the music camps at the gymnasium. And because there, well, that was like, well, that was kind of something considered more like reasonable than the Stiftsorchester, so like the string music, right? So it's more modern, of course, and like, yeah. So, but I can no longer really play the trombone, and I never invested much in it because, yeah, I just wanted to be part of those trips, yeah. So this bow, like this teacher, like was already back then not doing well financially. So my father kind of bought the bow, and this is like one of the best cello bows in existence because it was not like it was not played much because it kind of broke down. So the a part of the well, also like there is a perlmutt part which kind of was not fully broken, but it was not easily possible to like you have the also like the bow is mostly so those hairs are from horses, right? And you oft kind of, if you use a bow, you kind of have to renew that like well, every half year if you practice a lot, right? But this is just normally not that like like you need it even more frequently than new strings on the cello. They sometimes break as well, right? But you were not really able to do that without kind of destroying the bow because of this damage it had. And so it was never in use. And the problem with bows, especially in the past, was, and like this is a modern bow, so not a Baroque bow. A Baroque bow is actually much simpler to build. So we are still not able to build the instruments. So like Amati, Stradivari, like that's still not. We cannot build better instruments. So they don't really. They kind of gain in value, right? But the bows they lose tension if you use them a lot, and especially I don't know when they properly start, when there was the peak of modern bows. So I guess like 120 years ago, somewhere there, there was no method to kind of renew this tension in the bow. And so this is what also Bassin is. Maybe there are two others, but like this is the best bow builder for cello, especially, right? And so my teacher, they bought such a bow. They paid 50,000 Swiss francs for it. And so the thing was that in 2019, when I kind of well, I built this 5 chord cello, or I let it build, and so I talked a lot with the instrument, also in Rapperswil, Rütimann, so the instrument builder, and so that there is another story. So the thing is that my father, I don't think he got it because he's this narcissistic. So and this was one of like the specialty of Rütimann is more the Steg, and so that was Reichlin. So that was the also Geigenbauer, but it's all instruments, right? Not just the violin. So from my father. Somehow he messed up when it was just renewing those horse hairs. He messed up, like somehow this bow ended up in other hands, and it was like on the violin a top bow, so like 10,000 Swiss francs, and like he organized somehow another like equally good bow, but it was not the bow like my father selected, right? But it's not like I don't think my father really held a grudge. It was just it was a difficult situation, I guess, right? And that's another issue. Like my cello is not that valuable, but like if you want to buy the same instrument without like you would never be able to buy the same quality with what you get from the insurance if it gets stolen, right? So that's another thing, and not everyone likes the same bow, the same so yeah. But like the thing is that he kind of died in peace because he was able to repair this Bassin bow without changing the. But that was later. So together, and those were the news. So one thing was like a new laser technique that you kind of this. So this one part is like you need this Elfenbein, so from the teeth of elephants, and the other is this perlmutt. This is from the well, kind of the inside of what is the term in so very very expensive material, right? And so if you have to change that, you kind of destroy the value of the bow. So like together they somehow managed to fully fix that bow, and like everyone agrees, and that was not possible a decade ago. And my father kind of bought this bow even 2 decades before that, right? And so this is one of the few bows that was not played, and so it's yeah, that would be the full reward to kind of beat the game. So there is this path, right? So you could conquer this bow, and it's really like a best in slot cello bow. But it's not that like ever. I never met. So it's not that like I never fully managed to play it. So it's difficult like to play on a level that the bow quality matters like this much, and that like that you like need to be able to play more than a couple minutes a day, right? So yeah. But so that's the full legacy. So they actually kind of planned for there was a vision for a proper cellist. That's not like So but yeah, and then the last part would be with science. So this this challenge and so that one we discussed, I guess. So there's this lead and elite reward, right?
Yeah, I read your railroad post.
Yeah. So there the issue is that on post count they just don't get it, and then they are used to that. If they don't get something, that they kind of blame it on. Well, the problem is when I posted in 2020, it was under difficult circumstances and with drugs, I guess, right? And so there, not much of my posts made sense, but they were kind of interesting and uh, so I kind of try to keep up the same style. But they don't get it, and the big part of them can just not deal with that. And so I got in a decade the first answer in this context with this project on this third eye, this and like Walter Gehring, like he would have this is what he kind of died for. It's maybe the reason he died, right? So he was this he was this this ah, what we it was again kind of by accident that but it was his hypothesis, right? So that basically what they talk about just not just more direct, he kind of expected from looking at how they you need a lot of biology background, so about how that how he kind of was able to pinpoint the dinoflagellate that is responsible for this proteorhodopsin. But he was able to do that somehow, right? And then it was more that the assembly was contaminated with E. coli, but that was another kind of lucky or opportunity, because then you had a tool to see if the method works, because I was, without knowing that, allocating them properly. So the E. coli proteorhodopsin ended up where you would expect it, and so on, right? And there is just one as expected from this cryptopteridinium. But now I got an answer from the group responsible, and so that's another issue. So Ghost was already jealous of his Instagram profile and so on. That is, for me, that is just not how I think in this context. This is really so I don't even have I cannot even open Instagram, so I didn't see, but I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous of that world. It's this, if you saw it from the inside, it's this it's such a tough world as well. So I don't get this. I mean, I get it, but if you if that was not the thought I had on my own. So but if you always have to just work for impact factor, so you have to publish, that's exactly what you will end up with. Never that it is in the interest of research. like because it's fascinating and you want to like even there Walter Gehring had too much of, so he presented this and he told me that was the best discussion in since he kind of was in rent, so like in a decade, so he died with like 75, and that was like 3 months after he presented it in Paris, where he got an honorary doctor title, right? And yeah, he was this elated, and I guess the problem was even the car accident was because of that, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, he was a bit too uh yeah, too excited about this. Yeah. And
Um, uh,
I never really
yeah.
got why. So for me, this is not that interesting to find this, even if it's the exact protein, but like his excitement was not like fake, right? It's not
Mhm.
that it is kind of um, so transmitting to others. So it didn't really transmit to myself, but in this in this bubble, the ones that do this research, it's not all fake, right? They don't do it to end up with the uh, most money or most girls. So that's just yeah. So and I mean, I think it's often like that. You probably have better luck in that regard as well. If it's like not just, but yeah, I guess if you just look at but I didn't look at it. So if yeah, I mean this is another. There I kind of gave up. So I think my issue is for the most part that, like my mother, they are just not able to judge real effort. They like women would be in their nature very good at testing this, but they no longer trust themselves in this regard. And so this kind of selection is way too shallow nowadays. And the real so where it would make sense to invest, they don't even get this nowadays. So that is what probably has to change first. And I kind of accept this, like with them. So the one child politic in China. So there was something recently. So you have millions that are single males, because since I don't like the 80s, and it was changed in 2015. But like the biggest problem is, I guess, yet to come. So because they aborted for the most part the females, right? And now you have this kind of arranged marriages that you import, if you can, a girl from Cambodia or like Myanmar, I guess. So if they can somehow, yeah, and like there, I have to say, I think it would be better to wait for a sex robot than this kind of marriage. But it is considered status, so it kind of is expected, not necessarily children, but like they need a wife there, otherwise they are like not yeah. So that's the situation we have, right?
Mhm.
um yeah. And
No, you're right.
then the uh so like this is the third way that you would, so that would be my real goal. So that would be this soul stone for this God, uh, yeah, God, uh, the existence of God, right?
Yeah, the way you think about cello music, Bach, and how much they're familiar or unfamiliar, your parents thinking about it, your vision, your thinking about it, is this match to your father, or he's thinking different in this matter?
He's completely different. It's not all bad, right? So they are the reason that there is now like something you could build on, right? So um, because he founded like with us, my brother as well, this orchestra, there are now in like their well 20s quite some amateur like musicians, right? But at the moment, there is nothing new coming, right? And so there are a lot of issues, and it's not just that I would be able, like, even if I could, even if my father would listen and I would be able to tell him with ChatGPT do this and that, it would like it's real tricky. Like, and when it comes up to that stage, so my father, it was kind of the same for them. So my father and my godfather, they kind of continued with an orchestra because one of the monks continued with them. So they kind of had their own, and my father like was a professional musician initially, but this is not enough. When it comes to for this foundation for, I think that there my father did it well, but that doesn't translate to skills for like a father as in when it comes to the family. But no, like he did a lot well, and the other problem is that there is now one of the best conductors that took over. So this new Hofkapellmeister, but again with like the that was the Feldmusik, the FM. So it's not all about that. Like if you have to organize such a music camp, like sometimes we had so before there was a time where this was much bigger and they had a huge audience. So they had on their tournée sometimes more than 2,000 like as an audience. So that was when it's one of the most famous musicians and like church people, so like a monk or was died as well, right? Pater Roman Banwart, and then like in my time he was still part of it on the red guitar, but like we were happy if we had like in England more audience than participants, and sometimes it was well organized that like we played in a school and then the children, like that was just part of the program, and then there were like um uh 250 children that kind of danced to this music, but if it wasn't proper organized, then you had sometimes less than like performers, right? And so this is a different skill than proper conducting. And now the issue is that they don't really get along, and it's not all about like, yeah, the conductor is not even that important, except if you have like a Mozart requiem, so something really big. Like if everyone, like all those choirs, and normally they just have this Welttheater, so that is every, I don't even know, like roughly every decade there is this big world theater scene in Einsiedeln. Then it makes sense, and the rest would be that you kind of keep them well participating somewhere, oder in the smaller Vereine, orchestras, and so on. And there, that is a lot of work, and a lot of it is like honorary work, and like it's also, so they have no solution, and so they don't have a follower for the music school, and the one, like, they thought they had someone, she kind of on short notice will not do it. So at the moment, and you would need to plan for like a decade or at least several years, and this is just something politicians don't want to do, right? And another issue is, like, yes, like in soccer, like many of the coaches did that because of their own kids, right? And then some of them kind of continued to do that, and often they did it better than with their own kids, from experience, right? So it's like in soccer, it's not that, like, it is never a good idea to have the father as a teacher, actually, right? And
Um,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
um, Another thing is, I saw a text. Hello, it's nice to hear from you. Like, yeah, I'm currently working like flagellates, maybe.
Yeah, so this
With
was
my
the
kid.
one that was the response on the so this attempt to reach out again with because of this work with Walter Gehring. Yeah.
Mm, what this is about? Seems good, and oh,
I mean,
uh,
this is about everything attached to this. It was the this YouTube that has several 100,000 views, which is a lot for a kind of science podcast, about this third eye. And so there they shared a paper, and I looked at this paper, and that's why it was actually Niels that recommended this. So like I just wrote them based, so the authors of this paper I found, and now they recommended me this other guy, so another group that actually works with Dino. So Cryptoperidium is Panzergeissler, so a dinoflagellate. And so I wrote them as well, and I will not do more. It's much simpler nowadays to kind of have an overview of this is something that works well with AI nowadays. So like those um uh what is that? Also the reference tree, right? So who quotes which work and so on. If you're part of the, the tree, then you find them nowadays, right? The ones that want to be found. And so I think I found the perfect group for this project, for this data, but I don't know if they will respond, right? But that's what I tried, and I told the so I reached out this ETH Respect office. So I told them, so if they answer, then we should discuss this proper, like who owns the data. Otherwise, I think this is at best that you could use it as for schooling purposes, like, because it's not something you can do, like you cannot do the sequencing with AI yet, right? So you would at least need a robot for that, and we don't have that yet, right? So it would be, because most of the kind of bachelor thesis at the like in those fields as well. Like, yes, you have to do stuff in the lab, but you always have to write report, and this kind of report, especially if it's kind of something simple that was done often, you can easily fake with AI, right?
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, but like, I already hated to do the proper error calculation in the physics lab. It's the most effort to do that. Like, and it's still an effort to properly fake it with AI, but it's like I probably would do that in hindsight if I could, right? So it's just, yeah, like, yeah. But I don't know. I didn't, and I don't like I don't have this issue, so I didn't. But if you do that, you would you should get expelled, right? So you completely cheat at, yeah. But it's not hard to do, and I think it's like with how the, like, but at some point you had a collections of solutions for the exams, and like especially in environmental science, all they did was that they brought their whole collection of and then, like, the best secretaries, they found the exact same example somewhere in the exercises, and it was kind of a silent agreement with the professor that there would be at least like, where you just had to write down, copy the solution, right? To get like a sufficient mark. And I was basically the only one that I mean, I was the only one that kind of had a physics background. So I was the only one that tried to properly solve this. And because there is not that much time, it's actually quite tricky to do that as well. But I managed, but like, you don't learn much by just organizing those things. That's what you should have learned at the gymnasium, but in the early stages of the gymnasium. And then the last 3 years, there were just, I did nothing for math, and I solved seven um, 7 of 7 questions in the written math exam, and you needed 6 for the perfect grade, because it was all in this collection. So an orange book we had, and so you didn't learn more than that. This is just not enough, and no one really told you that especially my father. So there, I didn't have a fair, like, you don't expect to become top cellist when you start with 25, and it's exactly the same for this language with science. And my father did exactly that. He started way too late, right? And he never was relevant, and he, like in science, and he just cannot admit that. And so that's not, especially there, my father is not the right like way. You shouldn't look up to this, but yeah, that I realized way too late, right?
Uh, 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 why you believes related AI actually, why you believes the specific resonance of a cello playing BWV49 acts as a failsafe that protects human truth from being scammed or simulated by AI. If they do it, you will understand. But the new growing people, how do they compare and know the truth, and how much this is safe from AI? Do you think?
I mean, it's impossible to, like, this is even like, it is not possible to come up, like, if you fully get it. This is so this BWV 49 is is this wordplay with Taube. So Taube is like the pigeon, so like a beautiful bird. Like it's about this. Like this is a famous tale, especially at the time. So there is like this. It's about like it's mixed up. It's way ahead of time again. So it's about this wedding again for Jesus, the prince in the kingdom of God. And then there is the issue. So that's this tale that there is like this party, and so they invite everyone from the street just to pretend that they have this much of entourage, like it's about this. And so the biggest problem here is that there is no bride, right? And so it's about this. So that's this setting, and already all those ideas. This is just not. That is what is so lacking with AI, right? So it doesn't have those kind of ideas, right? And it's about like the erotic part of love as well. So I have similar thoughts. So like if I was Jesus, like it's just like why would you do those things? In the end, you do that because of like it's just yeah. So that there like it's about that, and then to like I don't really so I don't even know the BWV 49 by like I couldn't sing you this. I would need to look at the score. So I don't. But it's related to the wedding cantatas. So it's like in the style completely different than those other church cantatas. So this is like I mean I this is how I try to fall asleep. So like this is a way to do it. Like you have those, I don't know, doors or something, and like you put your problems behind those doors, and I kind of put my problems behind like a BWV number, right? And so it's not always connected to. I couldn't. I couldn't even like. It's just for the tale, right? So this is about this where Bach is all about this Song of Songs. So and it continues for the most part in much later BWV. So 202 is like one of the first wedding cantatas, right? So it's this wedding. It's about that, but it's yeah. So now tell me how, even if you feed that, how would like it's not even like the problem is that nowadays on such a gamer forum as well, they are just used that you either have something that AI gets and they don't get it yet, or they don't want to touch it, right? So I mean, I cannot see how AI can come up with something similar. And
You will understand that, yeah.
I mean that also so and then I made this I tried something similar in English, like she is pretty useless. So like pretty you wouldn't expect useless, but like it's not the same. But in German this Taube means deaf as well. So like it's just it's just a stupid deaf, well, not yet educated. So this is exactly it's very like I love the content of this. So the script of this cantata, and it is purposefully placed so that 49 is the word value of the pigeon in German is completely random because they came up with this. The Bachwerkverzeichnisse, so this labeling system was introduced in like around the Second World War, right after. So that had nothing to do with Bach, right? So that is my way to save this, right? But like in the bigger picture, that this is so already connected to those wedding cantatas. That is, that is interesting. Yeah. But I don't
And
know if this really answers the question. It's like, I think it's very tough to come up with, like, there are roughly 250 cantatas we still have. Not all are fully composed by Bach, but like, roughly that, right? So to, like, if you feed all that to AI and the task is to come up with like another cantata, like, the text is not really the issue. That's not very like, that's not very, the text is not very impressive, but like, or that's exactly what Bach did as well. So he just used ideas that were around, that people are familiar with, right? So that would be, I think there you would definitely use, and that is something Bach did like no other as well. So he tried to try everything, right? So used everything. So he would have played around with synthesizers and so on, right? But well, that's not yet so possible. So unlike a Harry Potter chapter, where I wouldn't be able to tell you if this is part of the original or not, this wouldn't work, right?
uh, do you see a direct mathematical link between the frequency of the cello strings and your favorite numbers or riddles?
I made that link, right? So to with this Palantir, so this is like, I thought through more than like, I had time. So this Tolkien universe as well. It's not like ever. For me, a lot is lacking, but like, this is what many of our games nowadays. Like, he introduced the orcs and Elben in German, right? So like, I mean, uh, so Palantir is this way of um, transmitting information, and sound doesn't work. And I think there it is reasonable, because if you could transmit sound, you could blow up over distance a place, right? And so that's kind of why in a dream, right? Uh, I know in a dream where this frequency is on my instrument, that you have this resonance catastrophe. And I don't think there are many dreams that are like in both languages, kind of this sound. So this is like, you can wake up in a dream if you ask, like, why is there no proper what is, also Fluchtpunkt, like if you would sketch it, right? So if you would look at it, there would, our dreams are not good enough, especially my dreams, because I'm not able to paint that good. So you wake up if you ask those questions. But when it comes to those properties, so because I experience sound in a dream, right? My question was like, how is that possible? Because it's like with the Palantir transmission, there are no Resonanzkatastrophen in a dream. Otherwise, you would blow up everything, right? If you could do that just by imagining it, but like you can experience this sense fully with everything, and it's not just sound, right? So I can really listen. So yeah, I don't know. Like, does that make sense? Is that an answer or not really? So I don't think there is the connection. I made this connection. It's important, right, for me that there is this
Yeah.
connection. And maybe it's like this is probably the most boring part. The beginning, it's connected to this. So this wolf is connected to the kilobyte sizes. If you like, I have several examples that I tested this, right. So and if you go into the mirror and take a screenshot of that infinitely, you will end up with this size as well, right?
Mhm. No, I mean actually mathematical links like a number 24. Do you have any number with any region to frequency like strings um, connected your cello related connection? Do you have any? Do you feel any number connection?
I mean, this whole elite slang speech I came up. So my own language is about that, right? And
Mhm,
I don't know. It's not that you like. It's not really that you have to learn this language, but I think
mhm,
I, like if like this is what the way a composer can talk, right? With
mhm,
this kind of well, there are there are people that even smell when like connected to music, and it's not random. So you can compose that they smell like the beach or something. I mean, but this is and
Yeah, I can also
it's similar in
sometimes.
like the most important, where my mother has no like for her this is just not part of, but is this important? So in an equation as well, so you kind of need to find a way to see what's behind. So you, I don't know, label X and N and T differently, right? So that you um separate what is behind what, right? And so it is more that I want to show how you can remember. I don't know. I never attempted this, but I might be able to uh, remember quite quickly 1,000 places of P if this was important by attaching a story, right? So you need a story, and then you attach numbers to the story, and then if you remember the story, you remember the number, right?
Well, yeah. Um, um, d- do you still feels the humanized soul frequency in vibrations of strings when you practice um, your now current situation, your painful physical challenges?
No, like no. Also, and that was like it was never that I had a soul frequency. It's just sometimes I have those kind of more like phantom pain. So uh, I I had such a dream where I kind of connected with that. I looked at this Brüder Löwenherz, and there the kind of the Messiah hero. So this Jonathan has that he kind of at the end offers basically a leg, I guess, and then they go even a world further in the afterlife because of that, something like that. And so this was especially at the time by far the, like, for me, like best hero you could imagine, right? And so when I wanted to play, so when I rented this real, like, it was the best instrument I was able to rent. So in 2000, so I tried it, and then I really rented it much later. But like, so I wanted to I wanted to play solo with the Orchester, also like das Musizierkreis See. So the orchestra where my aunt and Barbara still participate. And I play. So I recorded. So it was Vivaldi cello concert. So I made a recording, and they approved because of this recording, right? And then there was the accident, and like there was we had the weekend where where was first part of the rehearsals, and so I tried that. I kind of just ignored the pain, and it was just so it was not that I failed this bad at the rehearsal, but afterwards I was like at least 2 weeks KO, right? And I couldn't sleep proper, and so I needed a replacement on short notice, and that was that I asked David, kind of, yeah, and so it's like this kind of pain I had there. That is something. So it's like this kind of pain. So I'm able, like, with focusing on the cello, to kind of ignore it, like in no other situations, but like the 2 weeks afterwards. And there was another situation when I had on short notice once more to play in Einsiedeln, because the cellist injured himself like just a couple hours before the 24th. So this kind of how that was with the leg before the surgeon. So that I still sometimes attach to playing the cello, even in a dream, right? So it's kind of part of the experience, sadly. Or I know when I'm playing cello in a dream, if I ask the question, why doesn't it hurt? I kind of wake up as well, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, but it's not like, I mean, it doesn't make the performance better that I'm not able to practice. But what I tried with Ghost is, because he was able to judge this PhD, like so social or politic science, something like that, quite quickly, that it isn't like nonsense, right? But my idea was to see if it's possible to judge from like this essay I shared, or maybe from a painting. But the easiest way would be from like a recording, right, on the cello. But there, AI is not a very good judge yet. So that it wouldn't. But it depends. So like if you feed the circumstances, then it might work, but the problem is often that not just with AI, like the therapists are too lazy to do that, or they have no clue about music, and they don't want to admit that, and so that's another it's another issue. Then they kind of don't want to admit that they like my mother. They just don't get this kind of skill, and so they so that was at least the issue in our. So 30 years ago there was no teacher. They were all this. They had this low self-esteem. They would never have admitted that they are not this fast and so on, right? And so like the kind of lost soul stone. So they visited, and that went surprisingly well. So that is with like we found a foundation. So I will discuss this with my uncle, but for the most part, this is exactly what we were looking for. So this die Stiftung David-Dienst. And so there's roughly another soul stone invested, but that alone will not change that much. I was so like the Marco, so the kind of head of this foundation, and they started already a decade ago. He is blind, and it was just like that was impressive for me. And so we tried a lot, and most didn't even answer, right? And I didn't fully mention with the donation, but they and they were impressed by the story. And so there we and it's much better than like attempting our own project. They have similar issues. So they have a homepage that is several thousand Swiss francs, and I didn't find them. So some of the things they do, I heard about, but I didn't find them. So they have a helpline, and one example is that since roughly 3 years, this is just a communication issue. Basically, everyone agrees you need an urgency number. So we have one for the police, we have one for the 9/11. We have the firefighters, and then we have new. This is very recent something when it is about issues of also häusliche Gewalt. So if there is force in like family, this kind of number. And then the problem is there is one for 143 die dargebotene Hand, but this is not real help if you have a psychological emergency. They listen, so they listen. Like you reach them for 24/7, right? But after 20 minutes they hang up, and they don't tell you who they are, so you cannot really continue another call. And there are a lot of issues where this can be real helpful, that you just can talk to someone anytime. But many issues cannot be solved again. So all they want is that you have a selection, that you can select. You either want a longer call, maybe not right now, with something like Promentesana, or this, they have Reden hilft, is now such a helpline. So like talking helps, basically. And because it's not part of the set of emergency numbers everyone kind of knows, and you find, if you look them up, no one finds them yet. And this is just like even die dargebotene Hand, and everyone agrees it should be like that you just can select in the beginning what you want, or like more something with religion, so like pastoral care, so and well, this is just our government, how slow that is. It took 3 years to finally have, like, hopefully, but now they finally picked up that they should change this as well, right? So yeah, and this kind of work, how long of how longer autumn that needs. It's so I don't want to try this again. And they even do exactly what we, also my uncle as well, think is the most needed. So when it comes to the living situation in those, it's often years, not just in my case, where you have this back and forth, and you cannot get a rent contract without an EV decision, for example. So there you need assistance. And when there is a mental hospital visit, unlike the psychiatric business from the canton, so the official, accessible to everyone, when you go to the mental hospital, they pretend they don't know you. They don't work together. So the psychiatrist you know from psychotherapy, so ambulant, they don't talk to the mental hospital. And they do eben so sozialer aufsuchender Dienst. So they will visit you in a mental hospital. So for them, this doesn't stop. This is basically where it is the most important, right? And afterwards as well, depending on how you get released. In my case, 2023, this is worse than if you are released from a prison. And that's kind of the point they try to make, but in my case, it didn't work out, right? And so the last part is for refugees. Well, interesting as well. So it's exactly a foundation that like we consider better than just giving it to GiveWell, but it's very hard to because we wanted to do something for the issues we faced and hear, right? So yeah. But that was like, I tried that since 2023, and this is like the first time that worked. And so that's a big, but it's kind of that we will just be part now of this foundation, or like I will not do much work for in this context with the homepage. So it will get so my homepage will be more about my project, and I think especially Tina should be found in this like much bigger system, right?
Mhm.
But the main issue they have is as well. So like I told them, and it's the first that worked as well. So I told them, so if they have a case that they just need like a timeout for a couple days, before you can always do a mental hospital visit after, but in my case as well. So 2020, the biggest issue was that my family no longer endured this situation and me, right? And so there was just no other option. And once I kind of didn't have to do a mental hospitalization because I was able to kind of escape 10 days to the godmother of my brother. But it's very tricky to reach the ones that suffer the mentally ill and mentally perceived ill. So the patients in the situations where it matters the most, right? Because our system, our society doesn't want that. And to fight against this stigmatization. So the most important part about this, if you want a proper inclusion, that is just like 25 or 20,000 Swiss francs will not change much in that regard. And there I probably have just too high expectations as well, yeah. And now I don't know, so I will not try that much in Einsiedeln. So I think we will have time to write this there. I'm not certain. So, like with the lawyer, we kind of wait until the 14th. That would be the deadline for the so this Pasevich, the psychiatrist, so to respond in some form. That's what they promised. So because I found the guy for this kind of complaint, but it seems they will just not react and continue to with this strategy. So they react when they see when they see no other way. And that's the problem that is very similar with the police as well. And it often leads to a lot more trouble for both sides, mostly, yeah, in the long run. So I don't know, but it would be good to have like this, well, like an article or something. Yeah, that didn't work. So like he wrote for the Republik, that is one of the few kind of free journalism that do Reportagen, but that for him this is a while back, and so he will not write an article for me.
I feel earthquake for 2 or 3 seconds.
So I didn't understand. So the connection is bad, or
I told you that I feel earthquake, like 2 or 3 seconds.
an earthquake? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, the problem is that you
My
don't.
bed is shaking, the full bed. Yeah.
Oy. Is that often, or like is this?
Yeah, yearly, 3 4 times. Um, from 2 3 years. This is so small, but last year we had some more so like um, 5 7 seconds long, and a heavy earthquake happening last year. Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, this is like I think there was once that there was an earthquake when I was in Zurich that I kind of noticed, and then you read in the newspaper that there was one, and that's why yeah. But no, like there, it was definitely not above. So in this scala, like roughly around 3 still. So that's not like I don't know. And the problem is you don't know if this is just the beginning, like, or if it's now over for a year, right? So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
your kind of settlement is built in a way that it is like it will not get destroyed easily, or like are you prepared if there is a bigger earthquake? Or
yeah, we are prepared because in my area there's no high buildings, and most of them are half buildings. Do you understand? Half buildings means the
yeah,
wall is brick, yeah, and tin shed on the upper side, and this is mostly here. Free space, and we never face mm, major earthquakes like Japan or any other things. Just shaking, sometimes just shaking. And last year in Dhaka, we saw some buildings. How can I say? It lays on other buildings. um, Here we don't afraid much. When we feel earthquake is happening, we are just go outside, cause just open the door and go outside and free space.
yeah. So like I was impressed when I saw that the monastery in Einsiedeln, so the whole roof is built in a way that it is earthquake resistant.
No, this is not we did. You know, we live in just a regular worker builds this house. Even they are not engineers. People only hire engineers. So when they build a 2 or 3 floor building, that type of things, there's also some people they also don't want engineers. They hire some local workers on the too sometimes.
But I mean it's exactly so that was built more than 300 years ago, I guess, this roof, right? And the rest
Yeah.
of the town is not earthquake resistant. So nowadays they don't bother with that. They just build. They will just build a new building, I guess. I don't know. I don't.
Mhm.
Yeah. We have more the issue that because like of the permafrost, climate change. So
And I heard about some fake earthquake. Can some powerful countries can manipulate earthquake or in a specific area if they target they can play earthquake. How much this is truth or and
I don't know.
how much do you know?
I just know that it is quite accurate to like there was this situation with that Russia blamed Ukraine when it was about this dam they destroyed, right? And so
Mhm,
there was a big explosion, and this is something you can detect in Sweden in a lab. And so
mhm,
they were able to show there was a detonation, and that was not the Ukrainians because they didn't really control. They were not able to. So that didn't work because. But I don't know. I don't know. Like simulated. I don't know. Like
mhm.
you probably can detonate in a way that I don't know. But I don't know.
Yeah, I got it. And uh, I have a question on my mind from 30 minutes. Like, do you ever experiences some unnatural things, not in only dream or any existing in real time? Maybe that has a scientific explanation. If you ignore that for now, then did you ever experience something unnatural?
No, I mean, but the problem is that the most like fascinating, for example, science fiction would be that it is real. The problem is it would have no audience because they wouldn't understand it, right? So, but no, and I don't like, but I had
Unnatural means this can be in any form, like
so
touches in your
so,
body
so
or
it's
anything, maybe not
it's more
harming
it's more like
health.
that. Sometimes I have ideas or thoughts where I'm so that was what it was about, where I'm certain this is not just like this is something I didn't even remember I read somewhere, and in the right moment that kind of I had this thought, and so that
Mhm.
there is where I think this is from God, right? But
Yeah, right. Right.
it's not it's not like, but I don't see this as supernatural. It's just I think we all would be able to do that if we um like if we fully work on something and are familiar with it, then this kind of guidance will happen,
Yeah, happen.
and I wouldn't really be able to uh, put my finger on how this exactly works, right? But it's not for me. It's not supernatural, right?
I am now like about 2019. One time, a simple things happens, but maybe there has scientific evidence, but that feels so surreal. Like that time I consistent about morning prayer, like 4:30 a.m. At that time, but that time I was a freelancer, full-time freelancer, so I worked. And I never wanted to miss. Nowadays, I miss a lot, but that time I never miss a single day. I was consistent, and if I sleep at 12 p.m. or 1 a.m., and I always, if I can control my sleep, I always ask Allah, please, I want to wake up on right time, please help me. And it happens all the time. But one day, maybe 2 or 3 a.m., I worked, and suddenly I feel that too much sleepiness. I can control myself, and I need to sleep a minimum at least half hours I need. Or if I is standing, sometimes I feel that I'm sleeping on standing too. Then lied on bed, and I feel that maybe I can miss today's morning prayer. Maybe I can miss, but I don't want to. I sleep, and in the night, in the dark, I that time I live alone in single room, and I feel I was feeling that a hand like my brother or anything. I don't sleep with anyone. I love to sleep alone, but someone I sleep that time in a right side. This is a sunnah in Islam. I maintained the right side that time. So someone touch my left shoulder and turning back to other side so that I can move and I still can remember how that was real. And I afraid in the dark room. I wake up and turn on torch on my phone and talking who's there. And I see that time is maybe 15 minutes left to finish the morning prayer. And I was afraid too, but that was I don't know why that is happening, but the only only this time in my life I feel something different. But after some months, gradually, I again, I can consistent to prayer and am praying stuff. I degraded from that, and I never 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 faced the type of things or any other type of things. One time only. And that was so smooth, like gently someone turning me opposite turn so that I can wake up, or you know. Mm. I don't know why that's happening. That's why I asked you. You do many things in a different way, and maybe in your life, you already told that if you want something, and if you do deep research on something, something you will get in a different way that we don't expect. Maybe this is you told me that you will get some idea. Maybe this is that was the another form. I also get many things. I searching, when I'm coding. I'm a self-taught coder because before the CSC, I learned myself, and I started freelancing before my diploma on CSC. And at that time, um, uh, uh, many times I get stuck on coding or figure out some solutions, and Google too can solve my specific problem. So I stick to on 3 days, but somehow in somehow some ideas or some solutions came, and I feel I understand that this is not normal. This is something I get from somewhere. I don't know.
That
Yeah.
is where I'm so that's where I'm coming from as well. So I'm like for me it's obvious that it follows from what I looked into, but I mean this is not like this is my like so I know because of the project we did where it comes from, that we can see, for example, in a dream.
Mhm.
And this has to do with this third eye. So that's like that's how it works. And I know a lot how that works from like the inverse of the correlation matrix. So, like how you kind of compose a dream based on what you experienced, right? But
Mhm.
I have the same. I have the same issue. Sometimes it's just that I kind of need, especially like an input of like the ancestors that like I cannot explain where I got this from, right? So yeah, that you
Mhm.
somehow just have the
Yeah.
solution just by sleeping over it, right? And it works. It even works for like you make a lot of progress in soccer as well by dreaming about. In poker, it's the same, right? But
Yeah.
that really I can kind of uh, like for me, it's always that it was like this change. So when the neighbor that read the book, or when Pater Alois died, because he was able to figure out this password in like under a minute, because he just knew that word, right? Um, uh, it kind of changed that I thought of them, and then this worked even better. That I like, before that I didn't use the book as something that is like, so I kind of always started from nothing, but since they are now part of the souls in the afterlife and they know this book, I I can start I started with what is in my book and not zero, right? Not nothing, right? Yeah. So, but I told you about this example of the God. Also, that's where I had the opportunity 10 days. So with this um well, suicide. So the godmother of my brother. So there she went to the mental hospital with him, and then they released him um, because they didn't really see um, why he should be in the mental, and like a couple days after he committed suicide, right? Also Cherry. And so one thing I introduced because of this is kind of a Schutzpatron for the people that are debating to commit suicide. So before it's too late, right? And well, this is like when I was there, those 10 days, like she told me again that it took her more than a decade that she like always thought about, well, in hindsight you would have acted like you probably would have stood up even more like against the father in some situations and so on, right? And she had this moment of closure where she was talking aloud alone with herself, and then somehow a light went on, and because this cherry kind of had this affinity with fixing those kind of things, so like electric circuits, I guess for her this was a sign that like he is not like well no longer like well like she find a way with that to get closure on this, right? But I wasn't there. It is from all the stories I expected something similar for most monks that joined the monastery. For me it was like that's kind of, but it's again like if I didn't really but I somehow, that part I still like I remember this, and it was more like, for me it was kind of similar that I trusted this Exin peer accompaniment, so Simon Fasnacht, that I talked about this Russian roulette, and that I considered to kind of do a life insurance and like abuse that. So it's a big difference to in 2019 especially before that was kind of random as well, that I reached out to this, pastoral assistant, but it was not really that I reached out to her because of that. I just needed someone to talk to, right? And so it's, like, not always about the content, I guess, because the godmother of my brother didn't really read my book proper. She just saw that I found the courage to kind of write about this, which she wanted the most in hindsight for her brother, that he kind of found the courage to tell about, like even if it's just something that, like, your sister tells you, well, they didn't take you in the mental hospital, just try another 40 days, and if there is really not one moment where you kind of see a point of continue, then, like, do it with exit or something. It's a completely different way of closure than if it's this abrupt and alone, right? And like, ever he didn't. I don't know many that had the courage to write the book about this, right? But yeah, she got that part and wrote me a very long letter, but she didn't really read the book either. So it's like, I don't know. So there, my recommendation was that she would probably better try, because she never dared to try like psychotherapy in this regard. But then I can understand she doesn't trust in the system, because they were the ones that didn't take it serious. So yeah, like, they made it even worse. And that's for the most part, it's a trust issue. And I have the same. I had the luck that I had one, like, this experience with the Praxis Ricklin, where I had this trust, but like with the official psychiatric business, it's the opposite. For the most part, they made it worse, right? And so then you need God, right? And it seems in such situations where it really counted, that somehow works, right? But it's not like the other thing, that this was connected to my screenshots with those uh, like X-Syncs, that I can show afterwards. That I can kind of prove. But like, ever with such a story that the light went on, at the moment I couldn't do much with that. That didn't really help me, right? And the other thing was that the former abt told me, like, that's the one that wrote this letter for this introduction email for my book to the current abt. Like, he definitely took that. So it wouldn't matter. Like, ever he would have told me the same. And that is similar to, like, this situation with my God. The problem is, when I'm talking, like, with this book, kind of sharing, like, they kind of, I understand, but they kind of like, trust you in a way with something like this, right? And often this was more of, I was even more overwhelmed. So and his story was that like, he in a dream, there was this bang, and all my dreams were about this, that I kind of didn't, like, one dream was really that I didn't pull the trigger, and another was that I blew up this heaven construct with this that I trained this brass band to find these frequencies. So for me, it was kind of connected to what I did in like the dream world. That there was this bang. That's exactly what I did that night. That's just my, and I didn't tell him that. I just, for me it made the psychosis, or what you want to call it, even worse. But for him it was just that he heard this big knall, and then the next morning he knew as well what his purpose was, basically. And so this, I don't know. It's for me that was not that helpful to kind of find my path. And I mean, the situations I mentioned, it's like with those pocket deuces, which I connected to the first, because there are 4 deuces as well, and like this is just in the live tournaments played, that is exactly 2. There, the deciding hand was pocket deuces, and then when I took this poker coaching, it was again not because I told him about poker deuces, and so I don't know. This, I think it works like that. So those are things that happens, and then like with Bach, this is just something they kind of pick up and use from then on. And for me, this is how that works. So that based on those things, I had ideas that were just game theory wise, kind of better than what I normally come up with, and not my style, but real helpful. So that, I mean, that's what matters the most. So otherwise, so like with this Kingfisher. So I don't remember another time I saw the Kingfisher properly fishing and sitting on the branch, right? Normally you just see like a blue arrow, barely, like if you know, you see them swimming or flying, flying slightly above the river, right? But that was the moment where this lady with the dog, and so that's why there are now those placate that you have to keep the dog on a leash, and like so like even that coincidence kind of led to this result. That is not deniable, but it is not really a given that God was the reason that this is the only time I saw a kingfisher presenting itself, that it was even visible to like a lady with a dog that normally is not perceptive to those things, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, the the purpose of this experiment was exactly that. That because I'm kind of superstitious in that regard, or I think there were those, so like this so I wanted to make sure that it is random as as you would expect, and then it wasn't. And so that's for me, by in this regard, like, I mean, this is not how I expected it to go. And so my explanation is like with thoughts, and that was used to like was used to the advantage of the creation for humanity, it would be the opportunity. And that doesn't mean that all those, so like, Marcus had such a tale that he, survived a car accident in a way that is not really, it's not really possible, right? And so, like, he even had a picture of like how unlikely the car ended up landing, but like, that's what could be if God exists, right? With all the tinkering, there are still this many car accidents because it's a dangerous, cannot help all of them. And I still think the best idea would be if we had the courage to grow up, that we kind of need less of that. So if we were on the right track, then we would need less of this assistance, right? It shouldn't be the goal that we use it without reason, right? So that's my like. So this is something I will never forget, and this is, you know, like, so there was this situation with that there was this, well, granddaughter situation with Sepp Blatter, the FIFA. I mentioned this, so she was into my like longest flatmate, and so we talked about this when Kay joined our WG, right? And I don't know if it was because of that, so that we just talked about that we were close to like cheese fondue with with the family Blatter, so the most corrupt family. But like, I think it might have been because of that. She kind of questioned if it was not the same with her parents, right? And it was either that or that her parents really told her with the 19th birthday or something that she was kind of mistake, right? At least for her, that was like she was in tears, like I never saw her like that ever again, right? So that was when her parents told her that, but I don't know, maybe she, yeah. So that's like because there were situations where she kind of, well, I didn't get why she was crying in other situations. Or like she just wanted attention, I guess, right? But there it wasn't that. So, and I don't know, we didn't like, it had nothing to do that this was like the mistake of a corrupt family that like he didn't want her as a girlfriend, and it had nothing to do. So like we didn't know about this father banker that was way after that we kind of figured out by act, like that was, so it was not that we didn't like, it had nothing to like our, that was probably what would have been, not just in her case, the best. So like a fresh start where you don't know about this past, right? So she, but anyway, like that was definitely not the dynamics. We didn't know about those things. It wouldn't have, like, for us, it didn't matter at all if she was like a planned or unplanned marriage, right? The parents, but this is I don't know. There, this is still like that's what is another, like the other side of this. So like we inherit this kind of trauma. So we really suffer from those kind of experience. And in the past, that was just like that was in the Catholic Church. You were not like properly buried, for example, if you were this kind of mistake and so on, right? And that's like that's now in our maybe not the DNA directly, but in the way it is coiled. So we inherit that, right? And so I mean that's not like there would be this unnecessary, and instead of seeing what an opportunity she has and like how that changed, but it's different. So like you will never have a meaning in life if you don't like. Otherwise, it's kind of this like it's kind of the same as with the Saudi prince. So like this is one of the darkest, I guess, ways to become to power, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
And everything,
Salman.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that dog
problem
dog
is that
for Trump.
there the current US government tries to be part of like he's this powerful now that if you kind of do what he wants, you kind of get a lot of freedom you probably didn't have before. But if you, and that's kind of what Trump does as well. So he's very impressed by those shady gifts and so on, and just pretends the past never happened, right? But this is way worse than unplanned marriage, and those parents like they decide, well, then we keep up this family, especially for the LinkedIn profile, and like yes, this younger mother in the time she visited as well, like she had another lover already when so I don't know. I think the problem was that the parents didn't do that transparent, and that still is well the same with my godfather. So like the problem about divorcing for the children is mostly that there is no transparency about it, right? And that's like there for the people in Saudi Arabia, like this is such a bad start. So I I don't know that like I don't know there is so he bought this, so he made, instead of the Last Supper by Leonardo, he bought this depiction of Jesus for 450 million or something, and made it the most well valued painting in existence. But I mean, that just, it shouldn't, like, this is not how it should work. You shouldn't be relevant because of that. But our world works like that, and as long as we don't wake up, like those problems, how should God solve this? So like with with, with this example with the problem they have with male overpopulation in China as well, like how even if you really take that as the situation which I think God can eben, so just like they are not to blame alone that they had this one child policy. That was not really their decision. So like why eben, like you can kind of, but how those problems and their it doesn't like it doesn't change it, like where it would matter the most there, even if you probably have the full backing, the full power behind you of Allah. Yeah, it's still a big fight for generations to make that. Yeah, and so there, I there where it matters the most, it's not possible to show this, right?
Right.
So or in the situation of Navalny became completely convinced of God. So in there is a later book that was, well, not officially released, but there is something, and like that really surprised me. How do you find, and there is like we have a song of irgendwie von guten Mächten wunderbar geborgen. So that was that was in a concentration camp, so of a Jewish, I don't remember the name, but like they were they died, like they were eliminated a couple months later, but it's like this, like in those situations they found, I mean this impresses me the most, but it doesn't sadly help much to change the view of someone like my father as well. It does, like they are this stuck with what they would just I and yeah, there I don't really have, I still don't have a better strategy than what I already did, and I will try that. So that's what I will try the most in Einsiedeln. But I'm not that hopeful at the moment that this will work, right?
Yeah. Mm. Can we continue another day?
Yeah.
Someone
Also,
is coming for
t-
me. Yeah.
tomorrow would be fine again, and then I don't know. Like so I have already. Yeah, but let's just continue tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ciao, merci, ciao, Faruk, ciao.